Back with another video on Bally's 1958 skill roll. This time we're going to talk about the sequence motor. But one thing that I forgot to mention in the last video when we were looking at the maintenance on the back door is to replace the line cord as well. On the factory line cord, there's not a neutral and there's not a hot in the same size blades. But on your replacement, you'll definitely want to tie the hot side to the green wire and the neutral side to the red wire. That way the fuse in the machine is going through the hot side of your AC power. Alright, back to the sequence motor and kind of working off the schematics to give us an idea of what's going on here. But there are 6 different cams on the sequence motor. And if we start at the far end with cam 6, it has 5 nubs on it that will move this normally open switch up and down as it follows that cam. Now the schematics, they call this the 5-pulse cam number 6. So this would be in charge of scoring for 50-point shots. When you hit a 50-point switch, it pulls in the 50-point relay, and then it activates this switch, and you get 5 pulses on your score unit, and you get 5 chimes out of your chime box. And then moving just towards the motor, we have a 3-pulse cam, which will handle all the 30-point scoring. And we also have the 2-pulse cam for the 20 points, and then finally the 10-point cam. And again, on all of these scoring cams, it's just a normally open switch that rises every time it comes across one of those nubs or one of those pulses. On this third cam for the 10-point one, on the schematics, it also controls the reset coils for your 2 units over there. So during the reset process, your pulse comes from here, and it looks like that's also controlled through a switch that's on the coin relay that energizes after you drop a coin. 2 more cams to go. We'll start with the one closest to the motor. This one has a metal cam on it, and it looks like the switch is slightly different, but again, this is just one normally open switch, and it has a metal follower on it since it has a metal cam. This has one indentation notch for the home position, which it is in right now, and whenever a switch that can operate the motor is activated, and on the schematics it can either come from the coin relay, from a 50-point, 30-point, 20-point, or 10-point shot and the corresponding relay. So whenever this is energized, it keeps spinning once this switch falls closed, once it comes on top of this cam. And then once the revolution goes back around and it hits that indentation notch again, the motor will stop spinning. So this one holds the motor in for 1 revolution every time the game tries to reset. It should rotate once. Every time the machine scores, it should rotate once. So that's all controlled from this first cam. Now the second cam, this one also has only 1 notch on it, but it has a make or break switch to it. So just 1 make or break switch, and then that controls your row counter step up, and it's one of the last things that happens in the scoring sequence. And then when it's not on that 1 notch, it looks like it goes back and controls the 50-point relay. So that's the score motor kind of in a nutshell. And again, you can service these switches. There are a screw here and here, and then on the back side there's 2 more screws to take out. And this bracket that holds all the switches just comes up, and you can get in there and clean those. Also, when you're adjusting, make sure that you get all your switch stacks tight there. Also, if you have a really sluggish motor, you can split this gear casing. There's plastic gears inside. They have factory grease on them. It might have solidified over the years, especially if your skill roll's been sitting for a long time. I've noticed with skill rolls that have been played, it usually is fine, and the score motor is still spinning freely. But if you get a game that's been sitting for a long time, that grease kind of just locks that up and makes it really difficult to turn. So if you're a really noisy score motor or sequence motor from a skill roll, you might want to open that up and clean off all that old grease and then re-grease it and put it back together. Also, your clutch on your motor, this is always hard to get to, but you want to make sure that that moves up and down freely. There's a spring in there When the motor energizes, it draws it in. When the motor is off, it pops it back out. This is kind of your clutch. So make sure if you're taking this apart that you get that moving freely. You can kind of see the commutator, or however you say that word, moving in and out there as well. Alright, hope to see you in the next video. We'll start messing around with playfield mechanics.